We are at the UK Games Expo, and I'm sitting next to, you can't see me.
Matthew, I've got to say, this cameraman, you should pay him more.
Yeah, should I?
Yeah, I reckon so.
Excellent. No, it's all post-production. No? You don't need a cameraman, it's all AI. So, yeah, we are sitting here together to talk about a project you're doing.
Yeah.
It's a game. It's a long-hedged dream, I believe.
And we're launching it around UK Games Expo, even though we're not actually exhibiting at UK Games Expo.
Yeah.
Secretly, I'm here working for Free League, but right now, I'm not being paid by Free League, so I can talk about this game.
Yeah, we have some spare time. And look at that t-shirt, isn't that cool?
Yeah, this is the game I'm here to promote, and you can find all about it at our website, which is Effect Podcast, but I mean effectpublishing.com.
Yes.
As opposed to effectpodcast.org.
Now, you've been working on this game for a long time.
Yeah, we've been working on it for 5 years, I think, maybe a bit longer. It was inspired actually by another Free League game, which was Forbidden Lands.
Yeah?
And I think...
It came out 2018, didn't it?
2018, yeah, so 6 years then. 6 years,
Yeah?
Right. Yeah. And I think it was before it came out in paper, and we had the PDFs because we'd backed it. And one of the things that I have to claim credit for, because it can't be said enough, the whole reason why there is an FTL license, as Free League call their OGO license, is because I had suggested that as a Kickstarter stretch goal.
I remember listening to your podcast at the time.
And so I keep saying it, and so you remember.
I've heard it 5 or 6 times since, at least. That's good. So this is different from Forbidden Lands.
Yeah, but Forbidden Lands...
It's not a hex scroll, is it?
Well, it started off as a hex scroll. So Forbidden Lands, of course, is famously a hex scroll. And I had a conversation with Dave where I said, we could use these rules for a Western game. And one of the things, if you listen to our podcast, I hate Western games with vampires and with zombies and with supernatural shit, generally. I think having spent 6 years writing this game, I now know why they do the zombies. And
Why's that then?
Because otherwise the temptation is to make it Native Americans.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay, so they're stand-ins, was what you're saying. You need some sort of opponent you can knock down.
Yeah, I think it's an opponent you can kill without any of the moral consequences.
But that's actually what you're going for, isn't it?
But the moral consequences is what, and for me, and it's always been in role-playing, I've always slightly shied away from games that present a variety of different races, some of which are evil, some of which are good.
Yeah.
And it's okay to kill the evil ones.
So you mean there's no alignment in your game?
There's no alignment. No, there's no alignment. There is something that looks weirdly. At one point, Dave and I were developing something, and Dave went away and he came back with this thing, and I said, that looks awfully like an alignment grid, but it's our reputation grid, and there is reputation. You can get a reputation that looks a lot like an alignment grid.
So let's talk a little about what makes this game tick. What drives the narrative forward? What sort of drama do the players face?
Can I be really honest here and say what I think the bad guy is? We've already said it's not the Native Americans, and it's not the vampires, and it's not the zombies. The bad guy is capital.
Right.
What drives this game is you're looking for capital for yourself. You're looking to make a life for yourself, to build a business, to build a town, and to make your town a thriving town where your business can thrive. But at the same time, the enemy is somebody with more capital than you that can come and buy this whole town up and drive a railroad through it.
That was the actual play recently as well.
Yeah.
There was a threat that somebody would get lots of land grants, and you had to sort of stop and interfere.
Well, there's a fascinating thing in our playtest campaign, which we were running last year, and we still are kind of now. But yes, so there's us wanting to effectively steal land off the Native Americans, but we want to steal the land ourselves. We don't want the bad guys stealing the land. So
doesn't necessarily make you the good guys.
It doesn't make I think that's what there is no good guy because the player characters are generally capitalists as well, and there's other capital.
All right, so you're more on the bad and ugly side.
Yeah. So I think there's definitely, we're running two playtest campaigns in parallel, and one of them I'm not involved in at all. Dave is running that with his local group, and the other one, Dave's brother is running that one, and Dave's a player, and the one that I'm playing in, Dave is running. And the behaviours of the players in those two campaigns is radically different. my group are trying to do the right thing all the time. Although you listen to the episode that's coming out today, Friday, in fact, I tell a whopper of a lie in that one and then admit to my colleagues that I've made a promise that I'm not going to keep.
Right. I think I might know where this was going.
And so yeah, it's about compromise. It's about moral choices. That's what drives the game.
Okay, so you don't actually need supernatural.
You don't need that. No, the people are interesting. We've got thousands of years of history where people have found story and exciting things with just other people. I mean, I'm not, doing down Versen or any of the other games that we play, but you can have a game with just people, and there is a whole mythology around.
Yeah.
The Wild West that has never featured a zombie, and indeed when an alien appears in a Wild West film like Aliens vs Cowboys, it's generally crap. Or weird Wild West, it's not great, is it?
Yeah. Actually, Versen, I would argue, often values other people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. And again, capital in the Industrial Revolution happening and disrupting rural ways of life.
And the appreciation of the world around you and so on, without being too nostalgic.
So I think our influences are things like Deadwood. That's and just coming back to the story we started with, I'd said we could do an Oregon Trail, and we started working on that, and we very, very quickly realised we didn't want to do a hex crawl, we didn't want to do the Oregon Trail, we wanted to do Deadwood. Yeah. So that's where it went, basically.
Okay, so that's the story, the setting. What about the mechanics? What have you done to the Year Zero engine?
Not much. It's Year Zero you recognise. We haven't started introducing other dice. We've got a different... We think that what makes a game different from another Year Zero game is the push mechanic. So we spend a lot of time working on the push mechanic to get something that we think captures the spirit of... Dave and I always have this slight clash. Dave's very much about the history. I'm very much about the movies.
Yeah.
And then we compromise on the two. But I think we capture both a realistic push mechanic and also one that feels to me that you see it happen. You can point to scenes in movies and media and say, that's somebody pushing, using their faith. Faith is a big thing here. Not necessarily Christian faith, although, to be honest, a lot of what drove people into the West was Christian faith, the shining city on the hill, the... what do they call it? The mandate. It's gone out of my head entirely.
Don't know.
Manifest Destiny.
Oh, that. Okay.
Is
Manifest Destiny.
Because the American colonies, when they became independent, said we are not going to be an empire.
Yeah.
Because empires are evil. We've just got rid of an empire. And then to justify expansion into the West, empire building, they said, "Oh no, but we have got Manifest Destiny to bring Christianity across the world."
Yes.
So there is Christian faith there as well, and you can be a Christian if you want to, but no, it's faith in yourself, it's faith in the world, whatever you want to have faith in, that's what your faith points represent. And if you want to push your dice, you spend a point of faith. When you spend a point of faith, start at the beginning, your dice pool, whatever it's made of, and if you're familiar with the Year Zero system, you'll know it's going to be skill plus an attribute, plus D6. Probably some gear.
D6?
D6s.
Not step dice.
Not step dice. No, not step dice. D6s. But your first 5 dice in any dice pool are what we call trouble or troublesome dice. And you roll those with the others. So if you've got, say, a dice pool of 8, you've got 5 trouble dice and 3 other ones. If you've got a dice pool of 6, you've got 5 trouble dice and 1 other one. So the trouble dice have no impact on the first roll. But when you push your dice, if those trouble dice come up as 1s, then you're going to be paying a cost.
So even if in the first roll there's 1 or one of the trouble dice, you still get to re-roll it?
You don't get to re-roll it, actually.
Okay, so they're set.
So when they're 1s, when they're trouble dice and they're 1s...
So you can see the risk of, if I push this now, then there's a chance that I'll... And then for every 1, do you lose 1 faith point?
No, we did try that mechanic, actually. It was one that I quite liked, because then your faith pool was very fluid.
Yeah.
But players struggled with it, interestingly, not knowing the cost. And so what we've come up with is a bit of a compromise where you spend a point of faith just to push the dice.
Yeah.
The 1s can then be bought off. So you can spend more faith and buy off your trouble if you want.
Right. But if you don't...
then you suffer. Then the number of 1s you get indicate the column on a trouble table that you roll.
Yes, I've seen the trouble table.
And if you roll a 6 on that trouble table, you go up a column. So actually, you've got exploding trouble as well. So you want to, we're trying to encourage people to buy off their trouble. But if they don't buy off their trouble, then some story stuff happens.
Yeah.
And it works quite well.
The trouble is ideally something that doesn't stop the story, but it just
it makes the story more complicated. Yeah. And it can be really serious. Like you get four ones, and you're rolling on that table, then
you can die.
There can be instances where you take a lot of damage. Right. So there's potential.
Is the game deadly?
Very deadly. That's the big thing. So guns, for example, do considerably more damage than most weapons do in most Year Zero games. So you really don't want to pull your gun out. And what we're trying to do is to get people to think about talking things over rather than pulling their guns out. Because role players pull their weapons out more often than they do in the movies.
Yeah.
And it works. In playtest, you'll get lots of things where there's a bunch of tension about, let's just talk to people around town. Even, I'm going into this gunfight, I know it's going to happen. I just want to make my peace with this person who's nothing at all to do with the gunfight, but I've got to say this to them before I go into a situation where I might not come out.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you pull guns out as a last resort, and very early on in our playtest campaign, Dave's brother Tony got a shot to the head and was killed instantly.
His character?
His character, yeah. I like to say it was Tony because we were playtesting with real guns, but no. So it's a deadly game, you don't want to pull your guns out.
Okay, and you probably then have a number of skills. I noticed when I was looking through the quick start, which you can download now, quick draw, sorry.
The quick draw, thank you.
Quick draw. That some of the skills have slightly odd names.
Well, first of all, let's start with our attributes.
Yes, okay.
So you might, you look at attributes generally, you know that Year Zero has 4 attributes, so you might be thinking about something like strength, dexterity, empathy, and wits, or something like that. We don't have that. We have grit, we have quick, we have cunning, and we have docility. And I'm really keen on really investigating, particularly with the... In a Western, somebody can be gritty and hard without necessarily being strong.
Yes.
So I didn't want something that made people think this is a big character. I mean, they could be John Wayne, I guess, and I guess he was quite big physically.
Yeah.
But you also get some pretty wiry characters who are very strong. So we wanted grit to mean something more than just strength.
True grit.
True grit, exactly, yeah. I struggle with the word quick. I don't think you ever got to the right name for that because the other things are all nouns for a thing you have. But on the mental side, cunning and docility, for me, talk to 2 very different forms of intelligence. So cunning is, if you like, animal cunning, emotional cunning.
It's the fox.
It's emotional intelligence. You're not stupid if you've got a high cunning score. But you think in a very different way. And docility is more about book learning and what you might regard as academic intelligence.
All right. Where does the word come from? Docility is
a word in common use it's in more common use in America. So if you visit an American museum, you may well get greeted by somebody who's called a docent.
Yeah, okay. Docent, everybody knows.
Yeah, exactly. So and a docent comes from docenty, which is knowledge. And people used to describe in Victorian America, in 19th century America, people used to describe people having a deal of docility, meaning they're quite well read and learned.
Okay.
So those are your attributes.
You can learn something from doctors.
Yeah, it's hard to deal with docility.
The person who stands in front of you in a lecture theatre, it's called a docent.
Yeah, I see. And I'm just thinking suddenly, now you said doctor, of course, is the root of doctor, which was...
It's probably from that.
From... Not really about somebody who treats people, but actually somebody who knows a lot. It could well be from that as well. So there we go. So everybody should use docility more in their common language, is what we're learning here. Let's bring it back. So, you've got those 4 attributes, and then we've taken the Coriolis route, so you've got 16, shall we say Coriolis the Third Horizon route. Now there's a new version of Coriolis coming out with no skills.
Second edition.
So we've got 16 skills, so 4 skills relating to each of those attributes. And so under docility, for example, you have a skill like book learning, which means that you are literally actually very well read. You know a lot of stuff. So if you're a lawyer or a doctor you're likely to have you're likely to have book learning, and you'll find the medicine thing up there, which can't think what we call as a skill. Doctoring. That's what we call it. Doctoring. And very often our skills don't have G on the end because people didn't pronounce their G's in 19th century America.
Yeah, okay. So it was a conscious decision to say, let's go for the language of the time, because one conversation we had was on card sharp versus card shark.
And we've had, So now in common usage, card shark is somebody who might cheat at cards or use cards in a cunning manner, and you thought it was a misprint. I'd card shark.
Yeah, I did. Look, I'm a foreigner. I don't speak English.
And it's interesting because I didn't thought, well, it's always been card sharp to me.
Right.
But I thought I'd look into it. And actually, the first printed editions of the use of the word sharp, or in relation to cards, the first word that comes up is sharp. So I'm still happier with sharp.
On the Merriam-Webster.
But shark is in common usage earlier than I thought it was. I thought it was a purely 20th century term, and it actually comes from a German word. I don't know what it is, but German. Schurke, maybe. Yeah.
Schurke would be a rogue.
A rogue, yeah.
Somebody with ill intent.
Yes, exactly. So that's where shark comes from. And so the earliest version of somebody called a shark in English is way back in the 15th or 16th century. Not a shark as in the fish thing, but as in a German rogue.
There you go. Schurke.
So that was interesting.
We can learn something about linguistics here too. We educate and entertain.
But in the book, in Old West, it's card sharp. If you want to be good at cards, take advantage of people with cards, then you're card sharp.
Good.
Not a card shark.
Right. I guess the last bit of the questions that I wanted to ask about is, what is it actually like to take this idea of this concept of saying, we want to do our own game, we've got mechanics here, to actually bring it together so you say it's ready.
What's it like?
We can release it. What is the process like?
Tell me, ask me that again when we've actually done it.
Yeah, but so far.
It's very easy to sit there having ambition saying, let's tweak it and iterate it and play test it and talk about it and never actually do it. I think I would have been quite comfortable just carrying on with that, releasing to mid and high level patrons, get new versions of the rules as they come out. But we had to bite the bullet, and we timed it quite carefully, really, around launching it here at Games Expo, and my contract was going to end last month, so I was going to be contract free. So I'll be devote my time to it now. My day job contract's been renewed till December. So that's not happening.
Damn it,
but we've had to make a commitment to this. And honestly, it's really scary. What's it like? It's scary because we are getting into now our financial equipment. Our patrons of the podcast have bought all the art that we've done so far. Not quite all the art, because I've now started spending my own money on art. Yeah. And Dave will start spending his own money too. It's just that my money is more liquid, so I've been putting it, but we've agreed that we're putting,
that must be the tricky bit, because words are cheap, if you like, because you're writing them yourself. Yeah?
Yeah.
But then getting the art commissioned.
And we wanted to really do it, so, a lot of people now go down the AI route for illustrating what they're doing, and I have not got a moral judgment about that. I was trained as an artist, so part of me balks at that, but I'm thinking, there's lots of people there. I know the game that we've got running of Totow there. The GM has created, portraits using AI, and it's like, if there's a pencil there, why wouldn't you pick up and draw?
Yeah.
But we wanted to use real artists, human artists, and pay them money, and pay them decent money. We didn't want to take favours out of them. And we've got some great artists. We've got Thomas Elliott, who's done lots of work for Games Workshop. And he'd, luckily for us, just gone freelance. He'd drawn some pictures, and I said, can we license those pictures?
Right. So these are that?
Not these. These are of us. So those are portraits that he drew of us. Oh. And he's now doing our cover. And that is, let me tell you, an expensive job that requires more money than our patrons can afford. So I've just put the deposit down for that one. It's looking gorgeous. I might even show you this. I'm not going to show our punters this, but I am going to show.
I'm going to get an insight you can't see.
Just sent me an early sketch.
Yeah, artist. Definitely hard.
So that is an early sketch of the cover.
Yeah.
We've got some feedback to give him on that one. But do you think that will sell?
Yeah, I think that would. I like that. There's some drama in there. There's some
running horses.
I'm not sure about how much I'm allowed to say.
Well, I think I'm going to say is I want this to be stormier up here, so darker up here, and then we'll do the logo type in white and have that against that. And then these are characters that actually they're the same characters we've used in the quick start on as well. So there's a bit of
very good.
there.
So if people want to get hold of the game and give it a go, what do they do?
So right now you can come to, if you want to find out more about it, come to effectpublishing.com, and that has a link to drive-through where you can link straight to our products on drive-through, and there is a free 68-page quick draw which has got the rules and an adventure and pre-generated characters, and you can download that and play. And people are already doing that.
Yes, over there actually. There's currently a game going on at the UK Games Expo, as you said at the beginning.
You can also sign up there. You can join our mailing list as well. Yeah. And when we've decided exactly where we're going, whether it's GameFound or Kickstarter or whatever, I think it'll probably be Kickstarter, but I'm not ruling out other ones at the moment. We'll point you to that, and then of course you're able to sign up to that. And we hope to kickstart in late August, early September, ideally, after Gen Con.
And how long will it take you then, do you reckon? What's your plan to say that's when we deliver?
So it's all written. I mean, I'm sure we'll carry on tweaking it a bit, as particularly, we had some questions off the Kickstart that's made us rethink a couple of things.
Yeah.
So that's been really useful. There's a lot of art to do, though, and the art can take time. So I'm not making a promise about it happening before the early part of next year.
Yes.
But the early part of next year, there'll be a PDF pretty quick without art of the whole rule set. But then the finished printed product, I think you'll come to. I don't want to say New Year. Early next year is better than New Year.
Yeah. Okay. So really, the Kickstarter is all about the art.
Yes, really. Yeah. And we're going to be putting stretch goals in, and they're going to be about chapters of the book and things like that. Dave kind of doesn't want those chapters to not happen if we don't get the money, so they may appear as PDF or just text. Yeah. But if you want the book to look really good, then help us get through those stretch goals.
And be really thick.
Hardcover? Yeah. Sorry? Hardcover. Definitely hardcover. There are some things we won't compromise on, and having a hardcover and a special edition hardcover are two of those things. I want a cloth-bound edition, so that would be a limited edition, and that'll feel like a 19th century book in the Old West. You see? I really want that. And Dave wants a really lovely picture like you've just seen. I would have foregone the picture, but all the advice is always do 2 editions for Kickstarters because people really like them.
It's interesting, like the Dragonbane hardcover book.
Yeah.
I bought the leather-bound one in green with a golden dragon on it, and I think artwork-wise, the golden dragon doesn't do that much. But overall, as a product, as a book, it feels really nice.
Yes, and I think particularly for people of our generation, when I was buying those first stapled flimsy softcover books what I really wanted in my head was those leather-bound editions that we're now seeing with the embossed gold lettering.
Yes, now we've got a bit more money than
so I think that's what happens. So there'll be those. There'll be hardback. There will be bookmarks. Dave really doesn't like bookmarks.
You mean the
ribbon bookmarks?
Ribbons.
Yeah.
A piece of cardboard.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there'll be ribbon bookmarks in there as well. The illustration on the inside is mostly black and white, but you can see we're commissioning colour pieces, I should say, for the chapter headings. So, but we want the book to feel like somebody's drawn these images from life in the book. So it's going to look very sketchy, the illustrations. You can see some of the illustrative style on our quick start.
Yeah.
Quick shot.
Quick draw. Get it right. Wonderful. So anything else I haven't asked you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so. Please download the Quick Draw and share it and play it. That's what we really want with this. We're giving it away for free, and it's amazing value. I think people like it so much, we may do a print-on-demand version. That will cost.
That would be lovely to see, actually.
But
because I often just buy PDFs of things because I've got limited bookcase space.
Yes, and
but I just came here today to UK Games Expo, and some of the quick start I already have, like the new Star Trek, for example, I just picked up because it's so much easier to navigate.
Yeah, no, there's the thing. I spotted a hell of a load more typos in this version. Now I've printed a few previews to give to reviewers here.
Yeah.
Looking through that, I went, oh dear, it looked totally different on the screen.
On paper, yeah, exactly, you see it.
I've already ordered a print-on-demand proof, but I know there'll be changes. So that's going to be a bit longer because I'll have to do another proof when I made those changes. And then, I don't want to say later in the next month, but next month or the month after, there'll be print-on-demand as well. But you're paying for that, and the quick draw PDF will always be free.
Yeah, wonderful. Right, thank you very much for your time. Really enjoyed this trip to the Old West.
Thank you.
And let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
I thought I might even run an actual play on my channel. If I get my head around it.
Yes, we'd love to run one. We will host one for you. Or do you want to do it in German?
Yeah, I could do both, but is Germany really your target market at this point?
Well, I have a thing. I believe that this game is going to do better in Europe than it is in America.
How come?
Because it's a problematic game. I mean, we're not using zombies. And I think for people in America, they're frankly too close to the consequences of the actual history.
They don't want their own past to be...
A whole bunch of people will love it and celebrate it. That's fine, but a lot more people will be worried by it and not want to engage with the game necessarily.
Yeah.
Whereas for us Europeans, it's more a sort of mythology that happened in a land far and far away. So if you look at some of the most creative Western films and stuff being made, like the spaghetti westerns of Sergio Leone, like Lieutenant Blueberry in the comics in France, bande dessinée, I should say. Europeans are one step removed from Western culture and can really just enjoy it for what it is, rather than necessarily get involved in the politics.
I can see where you're coming from that.
So I think actually it would be a really big hit.
Do you remember the German streamers Orkenspalte? I think I
ran a game session for them during lockdown.
Yes, summer in December, was it?
I think I ran some in December for them.
Yeah, I watched that. They just, on their channel, did a Western LARP.
Oh, really?
Which is taking place down in Spain somewhere, in one of those film settings, and they filmed it. Might be worth checking them out, and maybe getting in touch with them and say, do you want me to run this for you? Because I think they're currently really riding this wave of Westerns.
Oh, really? No, we should touch on it. Maybe you should run it. You can do it for them in German.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, they got English speakers to run this with me, but but they kind of struggled, and it wasn't the same set they normally had. I think they'd be a lot happier doing it in German.
Well, Marie, if you're watching this and you want to get in touch about it, let me know.
I might have a couple of Orkenspelter email addresses. I'll look for them and give them a shout. See if they want to.
Anyway, come and explore the tales of the Old West. They're definitely worth telling and making up. So I think we'll leave it there.
We'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you.